Hello, I am Mrs. Williams. I will be your instructor for this College Algebra Online class this semester. This class is College Algebra Online, which, as most of you know, you need to enroll concurrently in Math 118, which is College Algebra Support. I'll get into more of that later. I did want to let you know, for this course, because it's web-based, we obviously use a software system. The software system that we use is called MyMathLab, and I want to show you how you can go ahead and set up your account and go ahead and get enrolled in the course, whether or not you have the money right now to actually buy the course, or if you're waiting on financial aid, or whatever the issue will be. So when you open up the internet, you can buy this access code from the bookstore or directly from the MyMathLab site. It's totally up to you. If you're waiting on financial aid and you need to go through the bookstore, that's fine. But what I want you to do, what I urge you to do, is go ahead and set up the code as soon as possible, because MyMathLab will give you a temporary code that's good for 17 days. So whether or not you're ready to purchase it, you have 17 days that you can go ahead and log in and be working on homework and not getting late penalties without having to pay. So I have my browser open. I'm going to go ahead and go to mymathlab.com, which it gives you this huge long address, but if you just go to www.mymathlab.com, it brings you to the same page. Okay, if you go to pearson.com, same idea. All right, so under MyMathLab, if you look in the middle of the screen here, it says Students. And what you want to do is you want to get registered. Even if you've used MyMathLab before, for a different course or for the same course, you still want to go ahead and get registered. Okay, it'll ask you for three things: your email, your course ID, and your access code or credit card if you're wanting to pay. So you say, okay, register now. When you click on that, it's going to bring up a page that asks you for your course ID. On our syllabus, I have put the course ID. We're going to hit continue. Okay, when you put in that course ID, it ties your code to my class. If you have already taken Math 119 before and not passed, or you're retaking to get a higher grade or anything of that sort, you will not have to buy a new code. You can use your old code. You'll sign in with your old username and password, and then you'll just go to add course, which it should be the same one, and you'll just select mine. Okay, if you have used MyMathLab before but it was not for college algebra, you will have to get a different code, okay, a new access code, which you'll have to purchase. All right, so at this point, if you've used MyMathLab before, you can go ahead and enter your username and password and use the same settings you have before. If you had issues before, if you just want to use a different email address, go ahead and create a new one. If you've never used MyMathLab before, go ahead and create a new one. So I'm going to go ahead and click create. Now it's going to ask you for information for your account. Here's the things I want to highlight. Whatever email address you type in right here is the email address that all of my messages, notifications, announcements, all of that type of thing will be sent to. So make sure you use the email address that you use most often, and also make sure there's no typos. I've had countless students get their email address entered wrong, and then they don't receive email notifications the entire semester, which is a pain when you're in an online class. So make sure that you have that entered correctly. Okay, then you'll create a username and password, which you can just use your email address if you want, and then your first and last name. Now, a lot of you like to enter, you just type it in, blah blah blah, however it is. However you enter it is how it looks. So if you use all caps, it will show up all caps. If you misspell your name, it will show up misspelled. Okay, so please either use all caps or make sure you put in whatever, I don't know, whatever your name is. Okay. The other thing I want to say is, I know some of you go by a surname, or you have a nickname, or you go by your middle name, or you go by something of that sort. Okay, I prefer that you use whatever name you want me to call you when you enter this into your account. Okay, if your legal name is Mary Gonzalez, but you go by Lupe, then go ahead and type in Lupe Gonzalez so that I know who you are when we're contacting one another, that I'm not talking to Lupe and then when I go into my grade book I have Mary. Does that make sense? So use whichever name you would like for me to use with you. Okay, so once you get all this set up, then you'll say, I accept, and you'll go ahead and click on create an account. After that, it will ask you if you have an access code, you can go ahead and enter it, and then you'll be all set up. If you would like to purchase one, it gives you the option to use a credit card or PayPal to purchase, or if you don't want to, you can select that you want to just use a temporary code. Okay, this all happens on the next page, which I'm not going to fill all this out and register because I'm not a student. If you have any questions with that, please let me know. Now, once you're enrolled in my class, when you open your MyMathLab homepage, it's going to look something like this. Now, you're only going to have one course here because you're only in one of my courses, but I have 2 college algebras, so that's why there's 2 showing. Yours should say Math 119 College Algebra Online. Okay, this is your MyMathLab homepage. To actually get into your homework and that type of thing, we're going to click on the actual course. Okay, and I just want to show you a little navigation about where your assignments are located and that type of thing. Okay, right now on the left, if you look, we're under Course Home. This tells you your upcoming assignments. It tells you the countdown, how many days and hours until your next assignment is due. So this is really nice. And it also shows you your progress over here. On the next tab, you have your grade book. Once you start working assignments, once you start working assignments, it'll show all the assignments you've completed and what their grades are. If you ever want to know what your overall grade is at any point in the semester, you go to your grade book and then notice in the top left hand it says show overall score. If you click that, it will show you not only the percentage, but it will show you the breakdown of what grade you have just for homework, just for quizzes, just for exams, that type of thing. It gives you the breakdown, okay? Now, your homework for this class, most of it is going to be through this software system. There are a few worksheets, which I'll show you how to get to those in a minute. But I do want to list, when you click on homework, you have the option of show all, homework, quizzes and tests, or you can choose by chapter. I highly suggest that you always just click on show all, because this shows all the assignments for the entire semester, and it will show them to you in order by due date. Okay, so it's the easiest way to keep on top of what you're supposed to be doing. Excuse me. If you just want to look at quizzes and tests, you can click on that and it will show you just the quizzes and tests. But really, for the sake of this class, you really don't need this button because you can view all of that through the homework tab. Okay. All right. So for your course materials, I do want to say something before I get in any further. I will put your syllabus and an announcement about how to get to this video on Blackboard. However, I will not use Blackboard. Blackboard doesn't help me for this class at all. So for correspondence and for assignments, we'll be using just regular email, or we'll be using everything in MyMathLab. Okay, so once you get set up in MyMathLab, I don't check Blackboard, I don't chat on Blackboard, I don't do discussions on Blackboard. So for this class, you need to message me, email me through either MyMathLab or directly to my direct line. Okay, and I'll also do like Skype conversations and that type of thing. I just don't want you to be sending me messages in Blackboard and I'm not getting them because I don't check them. So let me show you a little bit about where things are located. First of all, when I do my lectures, I have pre-printed notes, which I call lecture guides. So right here under course materials, if you click on that, down here there's a link that says lecture guides. If you click on that, it has all the lecture guides for each section. Okay, so like if you click on the first one, this one is polynomials and factoring. Once you have it open, notice down here on the bottom right, there's the option to zoom in, make it page width, that kind of thing. You can save it or print it. This is what I will be going over in class and filling in. And this is what my videos will show. So to get the most accurate note-taking experience, I suggest you either work these with the use of a tablet or print them out and work them. These will be your notes for the semester. Okay, so this is where they're located. Now, to show what we're going to do each day, I have what's called a lecture schedule. I know this is an online class, and with that, ooh, that's too big. With that being said, I try to be a little bit more flexible. However, I want you to have set due dates so that you pace through the course in time that you will get through everything. So what this is the lecture schedule that I use in my lecture courses, but we're going to keep with that pace. So I went ahead and put the due dates on here so you can print this or have it saved to show what's coming up, what to expect. If you want to see the upcoming assignments or when the exams are going to be, that type of thing, this is your go-to guide. Okay. Also, you'll notice under course materials, I have the syllabus. Okay. It's here for you to use, to reference. So if you don't want to print it out, these documents will always be on here. Okay. Let's see. All right. Now, once you've printed out your lecture guides, let's say we're going to do E11 polynomials and factoring. And I will explain the E is exam. So what this talks about when it's E11, that's exam 1. This is going to be the first topic that's on exam 1. So all these things that are labeled E11, E12, E13, anything that starts with E1 is an exam 1 topic. Okay, and there's 11 topics on the first exam, okay, give or take. So that's what the labeling means. Once you've opened up the lecture guides and you're ready to watch the video and hear the lecture, you click on lecture videos. Okay, and I don't think I put it up, but right here there will be links. You'll highlight those links, and I think you can click them if it's a hyperlink, which will open a YouTube video such as this one, and you'll watch the video, fill in the notes. If you have questions, email me. Otherwise, once you finish the video, you're free to start your homework. Okay, which then again, you would go up here to the homework tab, click on homework, go down to E11, which is polynomials and factoring. Open that up, it shows you all your questions. You load it, you get to going. Okay, if you have any questions, please let me know. I don't mind helping at all. Okay, so let's see what else. There are some assignments that require you to do a worksheet and either fax or scan and email it to me. Your worksheets are located right here under your lecture videos, and they're labeled by the section that they correspond to. So E19 worksheets, and it tells you you can print or save once you click on which one you want, just like the lecture guides. Okay. All right. Again, if you've seen MyMathLab before, you might want to skip this part of the video because you probably are very familiar with how to navigate MyMathLab. The reviews, I plan to make paper reviews for you to work on your own. They're not part of your grade. They're just to help you prep for the exams. Okay. There may be reviews for you to do in MyMathLab, but for the most part, I usually just do them on paper because they're not recorded as a grade. And this is where those will be located. You can click on it and print and save it, or you can just work it on paper. Again, you don't need to turn the reviews in. All right, now, if you notice below that, we have what's called Math 118 materials. So I want to go ahead and talk about what Math 118 is. Math 118 is a support class which we're requiring all of our Math 119 students to enroll in concurrently. What this does is it's just to kind of help create a class that we can go over some of the basic foundation topics to the topics we're then going to cover in 119. So any student who came up through a lower level math course or doesn't have a sufficient ACT or SAT score will be required to take 118. Okay, for 118, I've created this little section right here, 118 materials. Okay, it has your 118 syllabus. It has the lecture videos that go along with the 118 assignments, and it has the worksheets that correspond to that. Okay, so just like before, I go to lecture guides. Any 118 assignment we call pre. So if we're covering E11 in 119, then we're going to do pre-11 in 118, because that's the topic that's going to help us get ready for the 119 lecture. Does that make sense? So again, I have lecture guides that you can print out. I usually just do a few examples, and then you'll notice the next couple of pages is a worksheet. That's the worksheet that my lecture classes have to complete and turn into me, since I don't want just mass amounts of paper being emailed to me or faxed to me. I created online assignments for you in this web class, and they are located under the quizzes category. Okay, so even though these sections say, have this worksheet included, you do not need to work through the worksheet and submit it unless I tell you. Okay, if there's an assignment that requires a worksheet, you can print it, or notice right below the lecture guides, I've included Math 118 worksheets. Okay, and I think there's only a few that you have to work in paper and turn into me. Otherwise, everything is in the quiz category. Okay. Okay, with that being said, some of you came into this class with a high enough ACT or SAT score that you don't have to take Math 118. I'll be sending out an email here within the next week to let you know which of you can opt out of taking it. Now, if you are not required to take it and you want to stay in just to refresh on some of those topics, or just have it for, I don't know, an easy A or whatever, you're welcome to stay in. I'm not going to kick you out. However, if your ACT, SAT, or your placement score was high enough that you don't need Math 118, and I send you an email letting you know that it's not required of you, all you need to do is reply back to me, and I'll get you dropped from 118 so that you don't have to take it. Okay? With that being said, I'm going to have students in this class who are in 118 along with 119, and students who are only in 119. So when I go to let's go to the grade book. I don't think it's going to show. No, it's not going to show right now. The way that I created the course is so every assignment that corresponds to Math 118, I put into the quiz category. Now, the quiz category is worth 0% of your overall grade in 119 because it has nothing to do with your 119 grade, but I wanted you to be able to do it all within one course in MyMathLab. So if you are in 118 and 119, you need to do the homeworks and the quizzes. Okay? If you're only in 119, you only have to worry about the homeworks and exams. You don't have to worry about the quizzes. Not doing the quizzes, even though it'll show you have zeros, it's not going to affect your overall grade. Okay? If you are in 118, whatever grade you earn in that quiz category, that is the grade that I'm going to enter as your final grade in Banner at the end of the semester for your 118 credit. Okay, so again, if you're in 118, pay attention to the quizzes. You need the 118 lecture guides, which I show you where they're located. If you're not in 118, don't worry about the 118 tab. Don't worry about the quizzes. Okay, if you have any questions, please let me know about that. I want that to be very clear so that we're not confused as to who has to do what and who doesn't, that kind of thing. Okay, I'm looking forward to having a good semester. I hope you are all ready to jump in and get your feet wet or your hands dirty or however you want to say it. Again, I'm Mrs. Williams. My email is mb.williams@enmu.edu. Best way to get a hold of me, hands down, is email. I check it all the time, and I make a commitment to reply within 36 hours on working days. So if you email me at 5 o'clock on Friday, you may not get a response until Monday, but during the week, Monday through Friday, I try to get back to you within 36 hours. Okay? If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we'll see you on the flip side.